Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for real estate agents who are committed to being top producers in their desired market. We also, of course, are powered on the local level by Tampa Bay Real Producers, which is part of our local community where we feature the top 500 producing agents in the market. And as part of that platform, we have our partner series, which we've had on this show before. And today we actually have one of our preferred partners here on the show in our home inspection industry space. And that is Mr. Joe Svehla. How you doing, Joe?
Doing very well. And yourself?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to have you here. Joe is the owner of Get the Facts Home Inspection. So Joe's been a partner now with the Tampa Bay Real Producers platform for, I want to say, a little over a year.
Yep.
Does that sound fair?
Yep.
Okay. And so obviously with our industry, you know, we work a lot with mortgage lenders, title companies, home inspection,
Absolutely.
roofing, you name it, to make sure that we have the right partners to be able to work with the agents that are working with you and that need you
Yep.
throughout the market. So why don't we start a little bit with your background?
Okay.
For people who might not know it, did you grow up in Tampa? If not, how'd you get here? And what did you do before starting this home inspection company?
Well, I'm originally from Illinois. I was born and raised up there and got married, and of course, had a couple of kids. And my wife had an opportunity to come down to Florida
Yep.
for a job. And so I think it was about 2007 we came down.
Okay.
And 2008.
The weather had nothing to do with it?
Oh, well, maybe a little bit. But, it's a really big learning experience when you move from one state to another state.
Sure.
When we came down, we had no family, no friends, no anything like that.
Yep.
And it's a big shock to the system. You don't
Yeah.
know where to go. You don't know what to see. And, GPS was just kind of coming around a little bit.
Yep.
And certainly we didn't use it back home. But when we came here, we were like, we don't know where anything is. So it's been a pretty big process, I would say, that first couple of years. And
What were you doing in Illinois when you were up there?
so I was in a lot of construction type stuff. And
Okay.
then my parents also own a business, and I worked with them a lot, and we expanded that business quite a bit. And the timing was right for us. And
Nice.
And
You said
we
your
came
wife
back.
had a job opportunity down
Yeah,
here?
yep.
Okay.
She's in banking as well. And
Cool.
an offer came in, and she said, "You know what? Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
get some warm sun and some palm trees." And
You haven't looked back since, huh?
and yeah, exactly.
Our story's somewhat similar. I grew up in Connecticut, and I moved down here in 2012.
Oh, wow.
But similar situation. I knew
Yeah.
that it was just time for a change. When you came down here, did you have the construction background? Did you lean into that down
Well,
here at all?
I did. And what I learned very quickly is construction in Florida versus the North is very different.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I don't know if realize that or don't realize that, but you watch some of these shows on TVs and they talk about a lot of these codes and way they're building and stuff like that. But some of that stuff does not apply down here in Florida at
Sure.
all.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
that to me is a really big turning point. So it's like, well, they didn't do this and they didn't do that. I'm like, yeah, we don't have to. We don't get cold.
Yeah,
So,
no, that makes a lot of
so
sense.
yeah.
Depending on the market you're in,
Mhm.
there's going to be some ebbs and flows to
Absolutely.
what you're allowed to do and what you're not.
Right.
How long was it after you got to Florida? Then you started thinking, you know what, I kind of like this home inspection
Yeah.
space.
So when I came down here, I thought about getting into real estate, and I realized that's just not my thing. And I think it takes a pretty unique person to get into real estate, quite frankly. And it's just not my thing. A friend of mine said, why don't you get into home inspections? And my first response to that was really like,
Was this a friend down here?
yeah,
Okay.
no, a friend up north. I'm
Okay.
sorry. And my first response was really like, they don't know what they're doing. Why
Right.
would I get into that? And it really kind of was. But, when you started looking at it, this is like 2007, 2008. Florida didn't really have any requirements other than a pencil, a business card, and, some insurance, and you're off to the races.
Yeah.
2011 changed all that. Now we all have licenses and stuff like that. But
So Get the Facts was started in 2008?
yeah.
Okay.
And what a great time to get into real estate, though, 2008.
Yeah, perfect timing. There was nothing else going on around that
Nothing
time.
else was going on. But
So how was that experience for you, opening up this home inspection in that first full year? Was it hard to get off the
oh
ground?
yeah,
Yeah.
when you don't really have a solid network of people,
Sure.
and this is a networking business at the end of the
Without
day.
a doubt.
You have to know a lot of people. It's a relationship business at the
Yep.
end of the day. And in 2008, I didn't know anybody.
Right.
So I was that guy running around to every office you could probably find, knocking on doors, bringing in cookies and flowers or
Whatever it took.
whatever it took,
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't even count that first year as business because it was so minimal that it was just like,
You
should
were
we
just
keep
trying to get a
doing it?
tracking,
Right,
get your foot in.
right.
Yeah.
And some points I'm thinking, do we keep going at this? Do we keep
Yeah.
going at this? And I chose to. My wife and I said, let's just keep going. Let's just
Yeah.
keep going.
So your
And
wife was in the business with you too?
no, she keeps her own career. We're
Okay.
we're very separated at that
So
point.
that's nice. So at
And
least you knew that you had an
yeah,
income, right, coming into the
absolutely.
family.
Without her, this wouldn't be possible. Let's
Yeah.
just be honest.
Yeah.
And it takes a solid if you're married, your spouse has to really support you in this decisions like
Sure.
that.
For sure.
And without her, I wouldn't be doing it
Yeah.
without her.
Plus, I mean, there's a time frame there where you probably weren't making money
Right,
yet, right?
right,
So
right.
just having that gap be filled is really, really critical.
I kind of equate it to real estate agents. Usually, their first year, they're doing maybe 3 closings
Right.
at most, and that's kind of like how we were too. We were doing, I think in my first year, I did about 100 home inspections,
Okay.
which
All just yourself, right?
yeah, all just myself, and that's not a lot. It's
Right.
not a lot to keep
No.
a business rolling,
Totally.
But
And so does anything stand out to you as far as when you feel like you had a breakthrough? Did you get connected with a certain team or?
So what I did very early on is I met a lot of people that were already in the business throughout the country, and I went to a lot of conferences and started talking to people. What's you doing to make it successful? What are you doing to make it successful? And a lot of the stuff was, oh, I'm doing that. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing that, and
Yep.
it just took time to grow.
Yep. So
I,
you
I
felt confident you were on the right track.
yeah, exactly.
And so at some point, there a jump in the production numbers? Was that in year 2? Was that in year 3?
I actually know. I think, well, the numbers started going up. I was doing about 400 a year.
Okay.
That's when I decided to hire somebody. And I said, you know what? I need to expand this. I need to hire somebody else. And then we're
Okay.
doing, and around 2012, 2013, we had 3 guys running with us.
Okay.
We're doing about maybe 1,200 a year, somewhere
Okay.
in there. And,
Is that the
which is
highest
not
it's been?
no, we've grown a little bit. Unfortunately, we had some turnover.
Yeah.
So, the numbers come down, whenever you have turnover, and then they go back up. And then COVID was rather interesting few years. I think we could all
imagine.
admit that,
Probably really busy for you, right?
it was almost the opposite effect for us because there's so many deals going
Oh,
on.
that's right.
The number
They didn't
one
want to slow down
thing,
the process.
right? The
Yeah.
number one thing that they were kicking out was the home inspector.
Yeah.
But we maintained pretty busy, but I didn't really see a lot of growth.
Right.
And here we are now, and at the other end of it, we're steady.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. We're steady. We got a few guys full time.
You guys are doing somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500 a year. Is that fair?
Yeah, we're closer to almost 2,000.
Okay.
And
About 2,000 a
my
year,
goal this year
which
is
is really
25.
solid.
Yeah, my goal this year is 2,500, and I think we'll get really close to it. And it was a little, but I'm trying not to hire 2 on the same topic.
How many guys do you have now on the team?
We got
Joe?
3 full-time guys right now.
And yourself?
Yes, sir.
Do you still do home inspections too?
Yeah,
Personally?
I'm the last one we schedule, if that makes sense. I
Yep.
get them the work, and then I'm the last one I schedule.
Makes sense. It totally makes sense.
All my guys are licensed, of course, and I provide a van, I provide the car wraps, the whole thing. Basically, they just show up and do the inspection.
Yep. And your experience now with agents that you're working with, do they generally work with the same person on a regular basis, or is it?
That's a good question. I get like if they want to work with a particular agent or a particular inspector, absolutely. They just ask. It's call it a request,
Yeah.
and they just put that guy on. And if they have a good flow or mojo or whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
they will work together.
Yep.
We try to keep guys in certain areas so we're not driving 2-3 hours a day. But you know what? If that's what it takes to get done, that's what it's going to take to get it
What
done.
areas do you mostly serve?
All of Hillsborough County, all of Pasco, all of Pinellas. We do get down to Sarasota a little bit. We do get out to Lakeland a little bit. Even north of Newport Richey a little bit. So it's a pretty wide span.
Okay. So all of Tampa Bay, obviously.
Yeah, somebody referred to it the other day as like the perfect triangle.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, the vast majority of our local agents that are on our platform are going to be Tampa Bay based, but
Right.
there are some who might, get exposed to the show that are outside of that market potentially.
Every now and
Do
then.
you have a goal of wanting to grow into other markets, or are you pretty content?
Right now, I'm pretty content.
Yeah.
I always say I want to keep growing. I want to keep growing, but
Right.
I'm right now this year. I'm like, this is where I want to be. Everything's flowing pretty well. We got good solid numbers coming in. Everybody's busy. Maybe next year.
Yeah. I hear you.
And I like hiring
Which
guys.
is a good place to
closer
be in
where-
business, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. I like hiring guys closer to where they are going to be inspecting.
Right.
So if they live in Lakeland, I want to hire a guy out in Lakeland where he can be inspecting all of those Lakeland properties. And maybe beyond.
Makes a lot of
You
sense.
know.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Is there a story behind the name that Get the Facts Home Inspection?
So if you remember quite a few years ago, there was Joe the plumber that was pretty
Sure.
popular.
Yeah.
Okay,
During the
so
campaign trail.
right,
Yeah.
right. So we were going to do Joe the inspector, right?
Okay.
And we kicked that around for quite a while. But the biggest problem with naming your business after your name is what happens when you're no longer part of the business.
Right.
So then we right and then we were. Oh my gosh, I can't remember them all, but we had probably a list of 10. And get the facts stuck out because at the end of the day, people that's what they really want to know. They want to know what is the condition of the home. They don't
Yeah.
want some wishy-washy kind of answers. They want to know, is it a bad roof? Is it a bad water heater? Is it a good water heater? Is it, stuff like that. And that's what we try to deliver. We try to deliver on, you know, this is what's going to happen. This is the fact of the house,
Yep.
And I'm a big believer in listing inspections probably more than I am on buying inspections. Because when you're on the listing side of it, then you could at least say these are your problems. You could fix them or not fix them,
Mhm.
and move on from
At least you're
there.
aware, though.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
and
then you
then
can account for it.
the
I'm assuming
negotiation.
most of them you do, though, are buying
Yeah,
inspections,
oh
right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
90% buying
Right.
inspections. But if I had my way, it would probably be all listing inspections. But
Right.
it's a hard sell to a seller because it is anywhere from five, six, $700 cost.
Sure.
And they may not want to put that money put that up to say, okay, this is wrong with my house.
And then even if they do it, most likely there's still going to be a buying inspection done anyway,
Well,
right?
so
From the buyer side.
in my experience, there's actually not.
Okay.
Very, very
So the buyer trusts whatever
minimal.
the list inspection
They
is.
give the listing inspection over. They kind of walk it through. If they want us to come back out, we'll come back out and walk them through it as well. But for the most part, they just accept what it is. They see
Okay.
the repairs and they move on from there.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very different way of doing it. I know, but it works.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, when that happens, and I don't know the data on this, I'm not sure. Is
hmm
that fairly common in your industry that other inspection companies probably have a similar ratio of buying versus listing inspections,
I
or
would say listing
is that something
inspection
you're a
is
little bit
pretty
more?
small still.
Yeah.
Is a pretty small number across the board.
Okay.
The couple companies I know, we're all pushing pretty hard, but it's just a hard sell.
Why do you like it better?
Because I like being in control of the process.
Okay.
And when I see a house, I look at it as my house.
Right.
So if I was selling that house, I would want to know what's wrong with it. What
Sure.
do I need to fix? And then either A, say, hey, listen, we'll take 10 grand off, or hey, we fixed all these problems. So when you come down to the buyer and you're in this 10-day negotiation period, it's almost done.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we fixed that, or we lowered the price for that.
Yeah.
You may still come up with $1,000 or $2,000 just to appease the situation, but at the end of the day, it is much faster process.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I've had that conversation at all yet with any other partner in your world, in your
hmm
space.
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that up.
hmm
Something that I know there's many listing agents who we feature
Yeah.
within Tampa Bay Real Producers that
Yeah.
might want to consider that. It also, in some ways, could be one of the things we teach a lot is the concept of agents having some sort of a value add that they
Right.
bring to the table
Right.
that differentiates them, right, in
Absolutely.
their
Absolutely.
world.
There
And
is a lower cost item that they could look at even more so, which I think all inspectors are probably in the $150, $200 range, but just do a 4 point. And
mhm,
then at least you'll know if the house is insurable.
mhm,
And then no big surprise during the home inspection
yeah,
because the house is at least insurable,
right.
you know.
And you guys provide all the different forms of inspections, I take it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you deal at all with mold and stuff or
So
no?
we do mold inspections,
Okay.
sewer inspections, pool inspections. We can pretty much handle anything you want to throw at us.
Okay.
There's a couple that we refer out that we have great referring partners for, but it just the whole idea is that everybody shows up at the same day,
Right.
right around the same time, and everybody goes.
Do you have any is there specific licensing required for some of those different inspections?
So for like a termite inspector, he has
Yeah.
to have a termite license. So that's
Right.
something we don't care.
Okay.
WDO, very good. I a septic company. They have to have a septic license as well.
Gotcha.
And my wife doesn't want me to have a septic tank on the
You ran that idea by her.
driveway. I
She
did, and
squats
she
that
just
one down, huh?
no, they're not sitting on the driveway. My HOA, apparently I could have a company truck on the driveway now, but I don't think that's what they're talking about.
That's funny. Is there anything that you feel like should be known for agents who might not be as familiar with your brand yet, Joe? Is there anything that you feel like separates you from other home inspection franchises or companies out there?
Absolutely. There's a couple of big things. So one, and I hate saying it sounds so silly, but we take cash, we take check, okay, we take credit cards, and we take payment at close. That's the big one right now. So we take payment at close. Not too many companies are out there doing that, but those are no additional fees whatsoever. So whether they pay at close or pay with the credit card, there's no additional fees.
Mm.
So what you're quoted day one is what the quote is going to be at the inspection.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing too is we back up all of our inspections with a 125-day warranty, which has a $0 deductible. And if they have a claim, that process is very simple. You go right on our website, fill out the form. Of
You
course,
said
this would be
120 day,
125.
125-day warranty.
Yep,
Okay,
$0 deductible.
that's neat. I don't think
And
I've heard that before either.
that's appliances. That's like dishwasher, stoves, microwaves, even structure, roof leaks. You name it. It's pretty much covered.
That's cool.
Yeah, not like a storm, of course, but
Sure.
if something fails, like your garage door doesn't go up anymore or
Right.
something like that,
Anything
then
that you inspected,
inspected,
right?
right,
And then you find out that it actually was faulty and you guys
right,
missed it.
right,
That's what you're covering, right?
right, or it
Yeah.
failed after
Or
we
you failed
inspected.
after you inspected it. Right. I gotcha. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay. So do you find that your biggest focus when
Mhm.
working with agents?
Mhm.
Is it on like the education side of things? Are you looking to get into offices and educate them on
Yeah,
some of these differences more
yeah,
than anything else?
absolutely. Because I'm trying not to do inspections, quite frankly, and I try to put that work out to the inspectors more
Yeah,
so. So I find myself getting back to where I started from, which was going around to the offices, meeting people, trying to educate new agents and stuff like that. And even some agents that have been doing it, 20 years this way,
Mhm.
and now there's newer ways or different ways, and show them those possibilities as well.
yeah. And so, how often are you out, kind of doing those lunch and learns and stuff in people's offices?
We average about 3 a week right now,
Okay,
and we probably make 4 to 5 stops a week.
okay. Just to kind of make a
Right.
build a connection.
Mhm.
I got you.
Mhm.
So if you're a broker out there or a team leader and you know that they're always looking for people to come and
Absolutely.
provide lunch, number one, but
Absolutely.
also
Absolutely.
educate their
Mhm.
people.
Yep.
That is something you guys do on the regular, it seems like. So that
Absolutely.
might be a good contact to connect with you about.
Yep.
And
They can just text the office or call the office. I'm at
yeah,
extension 4, and that will go right to my phone.
okay. And so if an agent wants to, what's the normal like turnaround times in terms of like reaching
Mhm.
out to you,
Mhm.
getting something on the calendar,
You mean
getting
for an
the
inspection or for?
inspection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we're running about 2 days.
Okay.
So pretty much if you call, it's about 2 days.
Okay.
You know,
And then the report comes.
we guarantee it within 24 hours of the inspection, but honestly, we turn them out the same day.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So that's pretty much what they would expect. I
Yeah.
would imagine,
Yeah.
right?
That's come a long ways too. Because I mean, I there was a time where it was literally triplicate forms.
Yeah.
Okay, you probably remember
Yeah, I
these,
do
right?
those.
And one would go to
Rip
the
one out, leave it with a homeowner.
exactly, and
Yeah.
one to the agent, one to the homeowner, then the inspector took one home. I've been guilty of those. I'm very sorry, but and what came along is our cell phones, computers, software. Things just evolved so fast,
Sure.
and if you're not getting that type of response, I you have to wonder why at this point.
Right.
It's there's no reason for
So
it.
nowadays it's just all software.
It's all software.
They're
We
getting
could put
they're getting an email with the report by,
absolutely,
the end of the day or whatever.
absolutely. And the only reason why there's a stall into it is because the report goes back to the office,
Mhm.
which we review, and then we put it back out to the
For
client.
quality assurance.
Correct.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else that you feel like agents should know at all about whether it's the industry
Mhm.
or about your specific business?
So the industry wide, there's a new 4-point form coming out. I believe it's due for September 1st.
Okay.
Not too much of a change in it, too much, but just be aware that it's coming out. We're already prepared. We have it, and we're already using it to give you an idea.
Okay.
So if some
New
guys are
four
still,
point form.
yeah. So
Okay.
if some guys are using the older 4-point, don't be surprised when they get calls to put it on a new 4-point form.
Okay.
Um, as far as my business alone, um, really just wanted to touch on the point that we offer just about everything you could need. When we want to become the one-stop shop, if you will.
Yeah.
So you call my phone number, we get people out there, and we get it done the first time, every time.
Is there any examples or anything that comes to mind regarding like situations where you know that the relationship has gone really well, right, in
Hmm.
working with
Hmm.
agents, but then also the flip side of that, where
Yeah.
like you've seen scenarios where there was a breakdown
Hmm.
somewhere.
Yep.
Anything that you can kind of educate the agents on what you've noticed in terms of
Yeah.
what's important, right, in that
So
relationship and that dynamic.
I think a lot of times when um, it fails, if you will,
Mhm.
it's due to communication and timing. I
Yeah.
mean, let's just be honest. We're dealing with a lot of money, in a shorter time of window. Like
Mhm.
10 days is from what I understand is most people, some is 15, some is 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're dealing with a very short amount of time. And when we dump it onto the person that's buying the house, the customer, and say, okay, you handle all of this, that's where it kind of fails
Mhm.
because the customer's never done this before or hasn't done it in a very long time.
Mhm.
So now we're saying, make sure you call the inspector. Okay. Make sure you call your mortgage guy. Okay. Make sure you call the title guy. Make sure you, right? Goes on and on and on. And 3, 4, 5 days go by and nobody's made a phone call,
Yeah.
you know?
Got to
And
be
I
a way to
think,
streamline that.
right. And there is, with our service, there is a way to streamline it, but it involves the agent, using our app and going in and setting up the appointment.
Okay.
And then that's not that difficult. It's just name, address, phone number, the time and day that they want. It alerts our office. And within an hour, we have quotes going out and we have a phone call going out as well.
Oh, that's neat. So there
Yeah,
is an app that they can download and just
absolutely. And it's a personalized app to that agent.
it's just
So
called Get the Facts or
no, it's not in the app store.
okay.
We'll text it out to
I
you
got you.
because it's a
Okay.
personalized one for them.
I got you.
But it's a really great way when you talk about streamlining.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, you could literally be standing in the house, sign that a contract, and go, "Do you want Tuesday at 9 o'clock?" And you have
Yeah.
Tuesday at nine
That's
o'clock.
streamlined. That makes sense.
Yeah,
And did you say that also helps communicate with like the lender and other people
it
involved too?
can because on our software we can add like the insurance company onto it, with mortgage company onto it, and if they need any information, it's all housed in our database, and we
Okay.
can easily just send that information out.
Got it.
Especially like the listing agent, we could put their information on there as well.
Yeah.
Keeps them up to date on what's going on. We won't send them the report, um, but at least the agent knows when we're coming, when we're done, and stuff like that.
Get it. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Um, very cool. So is there any specific type of property that you guys specialize in, or you guys do them all
We
from
do them all. I
mobile
mean,
homes to middle class
yeah,
family to luxury
from
stuff? Have you dealt with all of it?
everything. If you could put a family in it, we probably inspect it. I mean,
Okay.
mobile homes, frame houses, block houses, single family, duplexes, triplexes. You name it. We've
Yeah.
probably been
So
across
really
it.
any agent who has a
Hmm.
specific niche that they serve
Right.
can find a
We
way
can
to be able to
handle
work
it.
with you guys
We
regardless
could
of what that might be.
absolutely handle it. The one other issue that we have right now in the industry with mobile homes is you have to have an engineer certified that the tie downs are proper. I'm sure
Mhm.
somebody out there listening knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a headache because that involves getting an engineer
Yeah.
to actually do that work and sign off on it. And that's another few $100s, I imagine.
Yeah.
We're trying to close that gap somehow. So
I gotcha.
that would be a good one for us to get done this year. I agree with you too, but there, I don't know if the law says they have to be on site or not. That's where we're wanting to make sure of all those things because, like for us as home inspectors, you cannot go take a video and then send it to me and sign off on it, right? So we have to be on site.
Yeah.
It's make life a lot easier, but
Yeah. No doubt. That's interesting. The
Mhm.
changing world. You never know what that next thing looks
Right,
like.
right. Everybody walk around with goggles, maybe, and cameras.
Really make things different in the home
Hmm.
inspection space.
Hmm.
I'm curious when you work with an agent or a
Hmm.
team,
Hmm.
do you have any ideas like what percentage of their business they get an inspection with? Do you have any numbers on that?
So it depends on who you ask, quite frankly. I've
Yeah.
talked to GTAR a few times and they've always said it's like 50-50. I've
Okay.
talked to other agents and they say, "Oh no, it's 100%." I've talked to, a few, "Oh, it's only like 10%." So,
Okay. Interesting.
yeah, that number seems to be
So
all
it's
over
going
the
to vary
place.
widely based on the
Mhm.
individual agent. It sounds like.
I
Okay.
think then that also tells us that there's still a lot of growth in this business.
Right.
If everybody was getting one,
Right.
well, this is where we
That
are.
maxes it out. Yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
So that goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is the education side, right? So that
Hmm.
speaks to why the education stuff that you do is so important
Right, right,
because there might be agents out there who, for whatever reason, they think it's going to like potentially ruin their deal or
right,
whatever.
right.
They are only doing like 10% if the person's requesting it
Hmm.
rather
Hmm.
than being and maybe positioning themselves as the professional who's recommending it.
Right. I would,
Right.
if I was an agent, I would recommend it all the time.
Yeah.
And if they didn't want it, I would be making sure that they at least signed off and said, "Okay, you didn't want it. Here's
Right.
something like that." But at the end of the day, whether you're an inspector, an agent, a mortgage person, an insurance person, you're out there to protect your client.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
when they see I'm not doing it, it's too expensive. I'm not doing it, it's 500, 600, 7, it's too expensive. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that person that really needs to educate them and make them understand why this might be important. And that doesn't matter whatever it's the inspection or the insurance or whatever.
Yeah,
What I
any of
mean,
those
you
components.
just have to really make them understand why these things are important.
Right.
And if they still shoot you down, then at least you felt like
Yeah.
you put your foot forward.
I mean,
And
500 is nothing compared to what it could be.
right, and
Uh,
if you
it's like
negotiate
having
properly,
insurance
right, and if there's a good negotiation, you could eat that $500 up in a heartbeat.
for sure.
You know, and especially if you choose a pay at close option, then you're really not even out of pocket.
Yeah.
You
No, it
know.
makes all the sense in the
Hmm.
world. I was curious. Can you give me a quick elevator pitch if you were an agent today? How
Hmm.
you would want to talk to a buyer or a seller about? Let's actually talk about the listing one because you mentioned that
Okay.
earlier,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's an
Yeah.
interesting one that maybe has a lot of opportunity for
Right.
growth. Right.
Right. Absolutely.
If you were that agent
Hmm.
wanting to talk to your listing
Hmm.
client,
Hmm.
what would you say?
I would say, Don, you want to sell your house, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how much money do you want your house? Top dollar?
I'll take it.
Okay, so I assume everybody wants top dollar, right?
Yes.
So,
Sign me up.
Don, I walked around and I have some concerns about your house.
Okay.
I want to bring my inspector in, have him look at the house and make sure it's insurable.
You have concerns about my house?
I absolutely do. Sir.
Okay.
Everybody
All
has
right.
concerns about homes.
Yeah.
You have to have honest conversations, right?
Absolutely.
You just have to be, and sometimes it's a little. I'm not saying you have to be rude, or you just have to be a little bit, bolder
Be
about it.
professional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Don't mislead people.
Exactly. And Don, when my guy gets here, he's going to go in the attic. He's going to look at the electrical. He's going to look at the water the heating and the cooling system. And when he's done, he's going to give us an idea whether the home is at least insurable. But just to be sure, I'm going to send it to my insurance agent and find out what that looks like.
Okay.
You okay with that?
No, that sounds fair.
Right. Okay. And if there's any repairs, do you think you can handle those?
I mean, depending on what it is, I
Depending
guess.
on what it is. You know of any repairs that need to be done?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, because your house is perfect, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
My house is perfect too, but I just
Correct.
put $1,500 into it. So I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
We
yeah.
got no
it's
problems.
perfect. Six
Yeah.
kids. That's
No holes in
that's
the
a
wall,
perfect house.
nothing.
That's a perfect house.
Paint is everywhere where it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's all good.
Absolutely. But I would have conversations like that. And if it came back, hey, listen, we found a leak in the roof.
Yeah,
And if you're a good agent, you probably know a roofer.
right.
I know a roofer. He can come out, fix the leak, and we can move on. And now we know the house is insurable, so we can go after that top dollar.
Yeah,
You know.
that's great, Joe. I hope that was helpful for anyone to hear it because I
Mhm.
think, again, we have all different types of people who
Yeah.
watch our show. Sometimes
Yeah.
they're newer agents who
Yeah.
are trying to become a top producer
Right.
and
Right.
they're just uncomfortable learning how to present some of this stuff, right?
And just remember, I'm an inspector, so I'm not a banker. I'm not nice. I'm
Sure.
not friendly. Sometimes I come off a little
You're straight
aggressive.
to the point.
Right, just to the point. And
Get the facts, straight to the facts,
you
right?
know, maybe that's the way to look at it.
Yeah,
But
I
I mean,
get it.
it's
I think another important thing too, like you brought this up, was the concept of while you're having that conversation with the homeowner,
mhm,
like painting the picture of
mhm.
if there is potentially going to be a problem, wouldn't it make sense for us to figure it out now
Now,
rather than
Yeah.
the buyer who
Yeah.
you maybe figuring it out a month from
Mhm.
now, and that's just going to delay this whole
Right.
process? Because
Right.
ultimately, our goal is to get you paid quickly,
quickly, absolutely.
right? We
I
want
mean,
money
we
in
want
your
that
pocket
house
as soon
sold
as you
quick,
want.
right?
You probably want the money yesterday,
Right.
right, in your pocket.
Right.
So
And now, if
this
you're
process could help things move a lot faster.
Oh, absolutely. And if
Yeah.
if you're at the point when somebody put an offer in and you sign the contract and now the inspectors come in, you're in that 10-day window, which is now probably 5 days because it's been a few days since we got out there. And now there's a leak in the roof. Now you have 5 days to get somebody out there to fix the leak. And it's still going to cost you the same amount of money,
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if you put it on the front end, it's fixed.
Yep.
And now there's very little little
Yeah.
negotiation.
No, it makes all the
You
sense
know?
in the world, really, when you lay it out. And that's, again, the key of a professional agent, right?
Mhm. Absolutely.
Understanding how to frame that conversation early
Mhm.
so that and there's also, I think, an art to not being the yes man agent
Right,
where
right.
you're just agreeing to whatever the client
Rubber
wants.
stamping everything.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
I look at a lot of disclosures throughout the year, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I would tell you right now that 95% of them, and maybe that's a high number, but it's up there.
Yeah.
Nobody has a problem with their house. Everything
Yeah.
is
It's
perfect.
so funny how that works, right?
You know? It's
Everything's
like
perfect.
wow. How is this disclosure not matching our report?
Right.
But it is what it is. But if you,
I mean,
if
it
you,
speaks to the uncomfortability of some
Mhm.
agents learning how to have that conversation.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. And it is a skill, definitely. That's not a skill I have because I'm
Right.
very just forward with the whole thing.
Right.
And I will tell people what they need to hear.
Yep.
And I don't mean to offend them, but I'm pretty forward about it.
Yeah, and I'm glad we brought this up because I also think about, like, one of the things that I think some agents could be intimidated by is the reality that there's so many agents out there.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So they feel like they have to just say whatever the customer wants to hear.
Yep.
In order to
Yep.
get them to agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
To the
absolutely.
listing or to even
Mhm.
to be their buyer's agent.
Mhm.
And there's a certain it's easier said than done, obviously, if you're already a top producer
Sure.
and you can kind of come at it with the mentality of, I don't need you,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
successful with or
Yeah.
without this one deal.
Absolutely.
And that's not easy to do when someone's a starving agent,
Yeah.
right?
No,
And they're
agree with that.
trying to become
Agree with that.
successful. But man, mentality wise, that's the exact opposite of how the top people are going to operate,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And whether you're a newer agent, somebody who's still kind of figuring it out or
Mm-hmm.
struggling in the business,
Mm-hmm.
that's really the trick, is learning how to position yourself as the expert so that they trust you,
Right. Right.
right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
ultimately, I think that's because if you think about it longer term too, if you've done a good job with that and
Right.
now they trust your opinion,
Right.
more likely than not, they're going to work with you on more than one
One
situation.
transaction. Yeah.
One
Absolutely.
transaction, because
Absolutely.
you're going to become a trusted
Mm-hmm.
partner in that way,
I
rather
have,
than just being the yes man. Maybe you get lucky and you actually do that one deal with them, but they don't have any real, you didn't really add a ton of value,
right.
right,
Right.
to the conversation.
I could tell you right now, throughout the year, I get the same story over and over and over from different agents. They'll come up to me and say, that one deal that I got? Yeah, that led to 3 more deals.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Or
Totally.
that one deal led to 5 more deals. Or
Yeah.
that one deal led me to that $1 million deal. And I'm
Right.
like, that's awesome.
Yeah. You never know.
And I do believe, it's putting everything up front, getting through that negotiation process. Everyone thinks finding the house is the hard part. It's
Yeah.
really not.
Right.
Finding the house is the easy part, especially nowadays with everything online, right?
Yeah.
And it's once you get to the house and you got a signed agreement, then the work comes.
Totally.
And that's to me is always going to be the difficult challenge, no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't think that will change.
It makes sense.
You know.
And I think, again, you've been around now long enough, so you've seen kind of the ebbs
Oh,
and
yeah.
flows of the different mistakes that a lot of agents and I'm
Mhm.
sure other inspection companies have made as well. And under promising or over promising and under delivering,
Right.
never a good thing.
No,
Right?
no. Yeah, I hear that for so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Under promise and over deliver. That's the
Totally.
key.
That's a good sense
Yep.
of business sense for
Mhm.
sure. A couple minutes on just some personal stuff for people
Sure,
to get
what
to
you
know
got?
you a little bit more. So I know you mentioned your wife already.
Yes.
How long have you guys been married? You have kids?
We've been married 26 years. We
All
got
right.
married in Las Vegas.
Congrats. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. January is our anniversary, and we were actually
Nice.
in the Galapagos for our 26th.
We talked about that before off
oh,
camera,
man,
hanging out with the turtles, huh?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah.
If you're into that kind of thing. But I have 2 children. I have a son that's 24 and a daughter that's going to be 21 here real soon.
Are they local?
Yes, my daughter still lives with us, and my son's in not too far from the house.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Any grandkids yet or no?
No, we're not
Not yet.
pushing that envelope, man.
That time may come, but we'll
I
see.
kind of like this lull right now. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's got their thing going.
Is there any interest with your kids of working in the business with you?
So my son works at the airport as an airline mechanic,
Okay.
and he's awesome at what he's doing,
Yeah.
and he's going to enjoy it. I think that's a great field for him. And as for my daughter, she's, like I said, she's almost 21. She's still figuring out life a little bit.
Sure.
And
Most 21-year-olds are.
and but she's going to get there, and
Yeah.
she's a smart girl, and she's hard worker, but she's not ready to take on like a career, if that makes sense.
I hear you. Yeah, no doubt.
She just wants to be 21.
What is your vision for the company next year, years prior? I mean, do you see yourself running this for many, many years to come? Do you have a legacy plan in place of who you might want to? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to give it to
Yeah.
someone? Any thought on that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of thoughts in that. We haven't really put anything down on paper to
Okay.
make it official, but
Sure.
there's a couple of ideas in place. But I'd like to see it move on after me, of course.
Sure.
A nice legacy. But who I don't know.
Gotcha.
I'm 50 years old. I think I got a couple more years in me.
You seem like you're pretty full of energy, young looking guy.
Yeah, I like to
Got
make
some
it to
time
at least
left, my man.
51.
They got
But,
yeah, to God's ears. So hopefully much longer than that, Joe.
absolutely.
One would say.
Yeah.
What do you guys love to do for fun when you're just hanging out, other than hanging out with the turtles in Galapagos?
We're I don't want to say foodies, but we like going to restaurants, quite
Sure.
frankly. We like finding a new restaurant that we haven't been to, go to that restaurant and just experience it. And not even look at reviews, not anything. Just say, hey, I heard about this restaurant. Let's go. Okay. And we jump in the car, we spend $100 and we have a meal, and we may love it, we may hate it.
Do you have a favorite kind of food?
Yes, the one that goes in your mouth.
Not too picky.
Not too picky at all. We don't have any allergies. We, so we're very flexible. It is what it is. We like to eat, and it's been a theme throughout our
There ain't
marriage.
nothing wrong with that. And thankfully,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good restaurants
There
in
is.
Tampa Bay.
There
so
really is.
That
There
can keep
really
you
is.
busy for sure.
Absolutely.
Do you have a recommended one that's a favorite at all, or you just like a bunch of different ones?
It depends on what genre you're going after. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going after this or that, I would recommend this or that. But
You guys live out in like
we're out in the Brandon area.
Brandon area, right?
Yeah, but we come to Tampa often.
Right.
The next one is like Sarasota. We want to start driving down towards Sarasota,
Sure.
Venice, and all of that. And
Yeah.
that's a whole new animal. It's very.
Do you get down to like Apollo Beach at all? That
Yeah,
area?
we get down to Apollo
Yeah.
Beach.
That's an up and coming area too,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, if
A
you
lot
go
of-
down to Circles, if you're down there off Apollo Beach
Sure.
Boulevard to Circles, and
It's right on the water, isn't it?
right on the water.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful restaurant.
Yeah.
Good food, and there's one right next to it, but somebody's gonna have to remember the name because I can't think of it.
Gotcha.
But it's a.
I don't really personally spend a ton of time over there myself because I live up in Land O'Lakes.
Oh yeah.
So I'm usually more this west side of Tampa,
Mhm.
Veterans Highway area
Absolutely.
is kind of my area.
Absolutely.
But I know that there's a ton of up and coming development or stuff
Mhm.
around that area
Right.
out there now. Couple quick rapid fire questions.
Go.
Do you have a favorite book or author ever, or a seminar maybe, or even a podcast that you like that you've been influenced by, personally or professionally?
The Tampa Bay Producers.
Oh, that's the right answer. He finally got the hint, Rob. I think that you might be the first one to actually answer it right.
Every month, right here, baby.
Oh, that's awesome. man.
We're done. This is episode
That's
one.
it.
And
That's
I'll be
it.
here
Everybody
next
else is
month.
X'd out. Oh, that's awesome, Joe.
Oh.
Do you like to read at all?
I'm not really a big reader. I'll
Okay.
be honest with you. I get lost in the books.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
But
for
podcasts
everybody.
are something I like to listen to. But it's really kind of geeky, nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
I look at cars a lot and that kind of thing.
You're a car guy.
Yeah, a little bit.
I was talking to well, you were at the panel yesterday.
Yep.
With Andrew Duncan was one of the panelists
Yep,
we had. So
great
he's
guy.
a big car guy.
Oh, is he?
Huge car guy.
Good
Yeah.
deal.
He has a lot of exotics that he has at his house. And we were talking actually about that before his panel yesterday.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that'd be a good guy to connect
Yeah.
with at some point. Dude,
Yeah.
are you into like the exotic cars or any?
So I just sold a Dodge Hellcat and I replaced it. Yeah, I heard that. I replaced it with a 1979 Jeep Cherokee.
Okay.
So it's a little older,
Sure.
a little slower.
Do you ever do any of the shows at all?
No, I literally just got it about a month ago,
Okay.
6 weeks ago, and we put a new engine in it, new trans in it. So it's running pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to clean it up probably over the next year.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be the one that stays in the house.
There you go.
I don't know.
The I live up in Land O'Lakes, like I said, and there's a place across the street from us called the International Beer Garden.
Yep, I know that place.
And so that whole little shopping center does these car shows. Feels like every other weekend. I mean, they're there all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it'll be like Ford Mustang type shows
Yep.
or other older antiques. They have some pretty cool stuff though that's
Yeah.
there regularly. So I'll take the boys there sometimes, just walk around to check out all the cars.
I've been invited to the GTE car show that's once a year,
Yeah.
and so
Is that up there?
well, they had it at the baseball field
Okay.
and the Steinbrenner field, and that was a lot of fun. I've done that. I think this is the third year, but this will be my first year with the Jeep, of course.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Have you done any shows before?
No,
Okay.
that's the only one I've been doing.
That's
But
cool.
they like the Hellcat line, and now they've gotten so many more different cars that I
Yep.
think they're like, let's bring in some newer cars. So the
Yeah.
Jeep is probably going to fill that space.
Well, we got off on a tangent there.
Sorry.
It didn't turn into rapid fire.
Yeah,
No,
it
don't
happens.
apologize. That's what we want to do.
Mhm.
Have conversations. But next one I had for you was, do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
So I used to love watching Dirty Jobs. I as crazy as that sounds, but I mean, my son and I watched it together all the time.
Yeah.
And if you listen to his podcast,
I've seen a couple of those episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
They
you,
already.
they're fun.
neat, yeah.
Yeah. There's just a fun episode. And if you listen to his podcast that he has going now, that's huge. It's amazing what they go through. But yeah, that's
They're cool. That
you
makes
know,
sense.
I don't like the newer television, to be honest with you. I watch a lot of rerun stuff.
Right.
You know,
Me too.
I just can't get into it. I don't know why. I
Right.
just can't. I've been a big Survivor fan for, I don't know, 25
Are they still
years.
doing new?
Yeah.
They are, right?
Yeah, they're
I've
still
never
on it
really
right
got
now.
into that show, to be honest,
Yeah.
but it's been around so long, I know.
This is probably
Yeah.
the one year I haven't watched a lot of it,
Yeah.
but I know it's out there.
There's so many seasons of Survivor that
Mm-hmm.
they've had entire seasons of winners of Survivor.
Yes.
Right.
that have come back and
And done it again.
They
yeah.
even have people that were
It's
born
been 2 decades plus
and
now, right?
18 years later, now they're getting into it.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's real wild.
but
it's like The Simpsons. of, like,
exactly.
Yeah, I was
Exactly.
just about to say that because the Simpsons are still putting out new stuff too, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
it's
think
wild.
that's the longest running sitcom
I
there
think
is.
I saw that somewhere
Yeah.
too. Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll end with this. All
Okay.
right, this is what
What you
I
got?
call our legacy question.
Oh,
So,
boy.
We talked a little bit about
Mhm.
concept maybe one day of selling the business, but even beyond that, when that day does come, Joe, and you're
Mhm.
sitting on that rocking chair thinking
Mhm.
back to what you'd want to be most remembered for,
Mhm.
right? Personally or professionally,
Mhm.
what are some thoughts that come to mind for you in terms of the legacy you'd want to leave?
Um, Honestly, it's just that I want people to think of it as that we're fair and honest about it. That's really what it comes down to. If they don't like the price, if they didn't like the this or that or whatever, but at the end of the day, they could sit there and say, "Well, he was fair and honest." That's what I want to be remembered for.
Straight shooter.
Yeah.
Just get the
Yeah.
facts.
Exactly.
I think the name makes sense, man.
It does.
It coincides with your personality and everything that we've talked about.
Mhm.
So,
Well, thank
hey,
you.
man, I appreciate you being here.
No,
Appreciate your support, obviously, as a partner of Real
absolutely.
Producers. And
Absolutely.
if anything we can ever do to try to help you, we will.
Okay.
If you're an agent out there and you're always in the need for a good home inspection company, we obviously highly recommend Joe and his professionalism. So I would encourage you to reach out. And if someone wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach you again?
They can give us a call at 813-785-4620. Extension 1 gets you scheduling, and extension 4 rings to me.
Perfect. Okay.
All
So
right.
we'll put that up on the description too,
Wonderful.
as well. We always end every single episode with a challenge to the audience. And so whether you're watching on the live stream, Facebook, YouTube, wherever it might be, listening in on any of the 15 plus podcast platforms that we're on, what is one action step that you can potentially take from our conversation today with Joe that would help propel you forward in the business? Maybe there was something that we talked about, such as even just the simple new form starting on September 1st, right? 4-point, or any of the other types of inspections that Joe had mentioned, or some of the conversation we had about how to basically position the need for a listing inspection, right? I thought that was an interesting part of our conversation today. But what is one thing that you can do? Maybe you need to have some follow-up questions for someone like Joe, or maybe you need to practice some of those types of conversations that you're just not quite comfortable with, but you can practice that with a teammate. You can practice it with your team leader, with your broker, making sure that you're actually practicing it so that you can come across in a more authentic and professional way. And that really is what top producers are supposed to be doing, right? And so take one thing, though. Every time that you get into the habit of listening to this podcast or any other show that you're into, always ask yourself, is there a specific action step that I can take to lock in the value of what I just took the time to watch or listen to? And that was obviously what we just did with Joe here for the last 40 minutes or so. We will see you, of course, on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. But don't forget to check us out at topproducersnation.com to learn about our online community that you can join right now and get access to resources and courses and online coaching. Our philosophy is really built on 4 things that I'll leave you with. And that 4 things is, number 1, learning how to clarify your USP, making sure you know exactly what your USP is and what makes you different in the market. Number 2 is creating your unique offers that lead with value so that you differentiate yourself that way too, tied to your USP. Number 3 is learning how to crush your marketing arsenal, right? Once you've done your USP work and you know what your value offers are, then you want to get that out there to as many people as you can. That's the 3rd step. And then our 4th and last step is cultivating what we call marketing automation, which is really all about creating the lifestyle that you want, right? Those 4 steps are what we do to try to help our agents become top producers and help them take it to the next level. And technically, those apply to any business owner that's out there as well. So we will see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast.